95 constituencies across 11 states and one union territory of Puducherry are voting right now. I'm joined by Yashwant Deshmukh, CVoter's founder, and which is, of course, one of the well-known psephology firms in the country today. You're getting data, of course, from across the country, but you can't share it right now with us. But why don't you, I want to talk to you about the voting trends in phase 1 and phase 2 combined. So the latest figures that I'm getting is for 3 p.m. today, till 3 p.m. today, Tamil Nadu 52% turnout, Bengal 65.43% turnout, Jammu and Kashmir 38.5% turnout, 5.7% only in Srinagar. Inner Manipur, good numbers, 67.5% turnout, Karnataka 49.26% turnout, Odisha is a 53% turnout. What, according to you, what do these figures tell you?
Because this is till 3 o'clock.
This is till 3 o'clock.
Then it is pretty much at par with 2014 numbers. I presume between 3 and 6, that's the official cutoff time. And please remember, Aditi, that even though the official cutoff time is 6 o'clock, or some places 5 o'clock, but actually it doesn't get over at 6 or 5, because those who are standing in the queue, they are given by the ticks by the election commission that
they can
still vote. So sometimes the polling continues till almost midnight.
Right.
So generally you say that it's 6 o'clock, but we have found that in our because in exit polling and other things, when we keep on getting the data, it keeps on coming till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the night. That means polling keeps on happening. People are there, those many people are very much in the line. I presume that this, for every state, it will go up by at least 10 to 15 points more. So this is pretty much in tune with 2014 numbers. We have seen in the wave 1 as well that the numbers were almost at par, if not more, than the 2014 numbers. So that's a pretty healthy turnout.
What do you make out of this? 2014 numbers, 2019 numbers, turnout almost similar. Normally it's said if the turnout is higher than the previous time, then it's an anti-incumbency vote. It's a vote against the incumbent. When the numbers are low, it's an opposite view. But this time, the similar sort of without a wave. What is your...
I have two quick answers to that. Number one, that when you say it's a without the wave, now, consider 2014 was a wave or not. Most of the people say, yes, it was a wave. So if the turnout is back to what 2014, either 2014 was not a wave or it was a wave. And if it is the same number, then you have to see it that way. Generally, people have a tendency that, okay, it should go beyond the previous turnout. And that is, I believe that 2014 was a pretty healthy turnout, and matching that turnout is equally good. That's awesome, number one. Number two, going up by the turnout, having a very good turnout, whether it is anti-incumbent, pro-incumbent, we cannot say for sure, for a simple reason. We have got way too many examples where a high turnout has resulted in a pro-incumbent verdict, right, and a low turnout has been covered in an anti-incumbent.
So it's really Janata
Janardan is there. A lot too many factors are in play. You mentioned the turnout. I believe that in Jammu Kashmir it's about 35.
Yes.
But it's 35 because it is taking a cumulative turnout of Srinagar, which is only 5. So I presume that in the Jammu area it is almost about 60%. So that's a pretty healthy turnout. In the Northeast, you have always been seeing 70 to 80%.
Right.
It's almost touching. And in Manipur, for example, you said that the question of the new law which has been put in, Citizen Amendment Bill, quite a lot of tension was on. But I don't know, the way the turnouts are happening, the initial reports were that, the turnout might go down because a lot of BJP sympathizers are really unhappy in the Northeast that they have come up with the Citizenship Amendment Bill, which is against that. And some are of the opinion, no, the idea of nationalism or the national security withholds that, and it is overlapping the idea of that regional thing. Looking at the turnout, somehow it doesn't look like that it is people are upset and sitting at home.
Right, but like it could also mean that people are upset and therefore coming out to vote.
It could also mean that. It could certainly also mean that. But keeping in mind that they have the state government there, a lot of regional parties at play. They could have spoiled the votes. They could have come out. But by and large, majority of the places, at least in Northeast, it is NDA versus UPA direct contest.
Absolutely.
We don't see much of the smaller third parties in fray, which are in play. So Manipur, Inner Manipur, it is pretty much, it is a Meitei territory,
Right.
which is in the valley. Outer Manipur is where the real issue and problem is, up in the hills where the Naga and the cookies and rest of the stuff is in play. So I presume that I would say that this entire turnout is looking down very healthy. And good thing is that looking at the UP turnout, it's very intense battle.
Oh yes.
It's
UP is going to be really
battle.
intense.
It's intense.
Because the coalition there, the Mahagathbandhan there is also very unique, and a lot of ground reports. In fact, Yashwant, since you're here, I'd like to ask you this. A lot of ground reports from the field, people who've been talking about, they're talking about the Yadav votes not really translating onto
Our
BSP.
eyes would be on that.
Yeah, because that will be one
critical
key area to
because
watch.
in the first wave, the seats which went into Uttar Pradesh for round one, they were practically speaking non-Yadav belt seats.
Right.
They were communally polarized. That even
Because
in
of the-
2014,
because of the riots, yeah.
that had happened, and
Right.
that communal polarization continued. From the perspective of Mahagathbandhan, the equation of the round one was primarily the Jato plus Muslim combination.
Right.
Even the Jats were not really part of that combination, barring couple of seats where Baghpat and Muzaffarnagar, where RLD candidates are there, Ajit Singh and his son. But otherwise, primary equation was in the round one, Jato plus
Muslims.
It was today's phase where the Yadav
Yadavs were
thing had
pushed against
come in.
the Dalits,
So
yeah.
it's very, very difficult, and we are going to keep a keen eye that in the by-elections, Aditi, where the BJP got defeated, which formed the base of this Mahagathbandhan alliance, all 4 seats, BSP did not give the candidate. BSP supported the SP
True.
and RLD candidate. So BSP we all know that 100% she can transfer, this lady. But the question is whether Mulayam
The
Singh's
reverse
cadre
transfer will happen.
can happen that way. Are Yadav going to vote for Mayawati's candidate or not? That is the key question. I have always maintained that yes, they have successfully done so in 1993 election. I remember that election pretty well. And
Absolutely, that was historic, yeah.
Historic, Kashiram and Mulayam Singh got together.
Correct.
So it has happened earlier. There is no reason it should not happen now. But the way Mulayam Singh Yadav spoke in the parliament,
That sort of
has
set
created
the cat among the
pigeons. Zero. And the nara that is going on in UP right now is Artis mein lal baki pe Shivpal. So basically that, as if Netaji has said on 38 seats, where my son is putting candidate, vote for my son. Rest of the seats, there is my brother.
Right.
If that is where precisely one needs to keep a very keen eye. Look, I will be certainly looking into the data once as and when we get it. But from the qualitative reports, the reporters on the ground, Hindustan Times reporters, tomorrow when you will be telling, at least qualitatively, you will be getting a sense that in the seats where BSP is contesting, is the Yadav vote transferring
to the BSP or not?
100% or not?
Absolutely. When you're talking about that, I just want to shift the focus because we have little time on our hands to down south, where a majority of the seats in this phase, especially, are going to vote, or I know people have already voted or are going to cast their vote. So out of the 95 seats, there are 38 in Tamil Nadu and there are 14 in Karnataka, almost half the seats in Karnataka. How do you see this playing out in Tamil Nadu? Let's start with Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, this is the first general election without the presence of Karunanidhi and without the presence of Jayalalitha. The two stalwarts who sort of hogged and were towering figures in Tamil Nadu politics are no more, and they're not there. In the absence of them, there is a rainbow alliance, let's say, of the BJP and the AIDMK, and there is the DMK and the Congress and the left.
It's a rainbow versus rainbow.
Rainbow versus rainbow, right? And then there is TTV Dhinakaran, who comes in between as a spoiler, and there's also Kamal Hassan's party. What do you think? Because this election is crucial for Tamil Nadu in the sense that it's also going to give us a sense into where the chips are going to fall, even in the state.
It's seminal election. It's something which is going to decide the Tamil Nadu politics for the next 2 to 3 decades.
Right.
Let's be very clear. This is one of those historic turning points in Tamil Nadu politics. And which is why I am very uncomfortable with a couple of facts. You see, Aditi, that 37 seats that Jayalalitha had won, now her party is contesting only on 20, which is explainable that they feel uncertain and they want to accommodate more allies. What on earth makes DMK give away
10 seats to the Congress?
And rest of the DMK itself is contesting only 20 seats.
Right.
barring the 3 seats of Vaiko, who said that, I'm going to contest on DMK symbol. But actually DMK is contesting on 20 seats, which ideally, when in the pre-poll surveys, we have been saying that they are going to sweep 39-0 plus 140-0 till last month. And all of a sudden, you have a situation where the guys are not even contesting their full quota of seats, So I am very uncomfortable. I feel that there is a larger game in out there, and there is something which post 23rd of May, Tamil Nadu equations are going into be action. Because
I get a sense that you feel that the Saffron Party is going to gain some traction there.
They might get some traction because I see that the biggest two loser could be possibly AIADMK and the Congress vote. Could be. I am not saying definitely, because I see that whenever there is a direct contest between DMK and ADMK, it will be advantage DMK. We have seen that at this point of time.
Right.
But if it is only allies versus allies, then you are in uncharted territory.
Right.
If you are between, say for example, MDMK versus PMK, if you are between BJP versus Congress,
True.
then you are in a territory in Tamil Nadu politics where you don't really know what is going to happen.
True.
So that way, I think Tamil Nadu is at a very critical turning point. And obviously, one thing is clear, both these poles of Tamil Nadu politics are no more confident of themselves. They are no more in commanding position. So Tamil Nadu is now back to the two alliance kind of thing rather than the two party kind of thing. In any case, the DMK has been out of full majority for more than 15 years now. Their last government was actually a minority government. Jayalalitha was the one who was forcing. Actually, Jayalalitha in the previous assembly election forced all her alliance partners to contest under her symbol. So that was her grip.
Her charisma and her grip,
And her grip. And now that is gone for a toss. So very, very, very historic and critical.
But too close to call.
Close to call. So it's not going to be one-way traffic. I have told my team that I refuse to believe your data because, I understand with the fragmented opposition, even I would say DMK will sweep 40-0, 39 plus 1.
Correct.
But now, with DMK giving away half the seats to alliance partners, I'm not very sure.
What about the role of TTV Dinakaran, Sasikala's nephew now? He and his party, that's also likely to split the AIADMK votes to some extent. How much of a dent do you think he's going to be able to make?
I think they are only looking to the situation where they can take the credit of defeating the BJP by eating up, AIADMK by eating up the votes. So they want to just take the credit that you could not win because of me, and then try to jostle around the way that, okay, I am the real here, I want to the leadership back and something of that sort.
Right.
Even that will be put to litmus test because not every seat is RK Nagar. Please remember,
not every seat is
RK-Nagar, and not every seat you can just dole out the cash that you did.
You did.
It just doesn't happen that way.
Right.
So, yes, Tamil Nadu, we'll know on 23rd what exactly is
just let's quickly move to Karnataka and then probably wrap up. And when I say Karnataka, I see that the entire HD Deva Gowda family is in the fray there. Of course, the BJP is quick to point out about dynastic politics without obviously looking back at its own thing, because BJP has its own share of dynastic leaders. Of course, Kumaraswamy said when he was casting his vote today that, dynasty is not the issue. The main issue are the national issues, which really you should be talking about.
Did he cry at this point of time?
No, he didn't cry at all.
That's a rare occasion, I must say. But, the problem with the JDS-Congress alliance is that in the surveys and otherwise also on paper, the arithmetic looks like 50% votes.
Right.
And then you say, they are getting 50%, their arithmetic. How come they are not sweeping 28 out of 28?
Right.
The reason is that Deva Gowda and his party is limited to southern Karnataka. So the 5-6 seats in their stronghold, if suppose Congress and JDS together poll 70-80% of the seats and win the seats, the number of seats is going to remain the 5. It will not become 15.
Correct.
So there are two distinct Karnatakas. One is Deva Gowda Karnataka and one is non-Deva Gowda Karnataka. The non-Deva Gowda Karnataka is kind of you can say
More.
21 seats,
Right.
22 seats, and Devagowda, Karnataka is 6-7 seats. So that 6-7 seats, it might be one-way traffic.
Exactly.
It could be.
Which
But-
is all in the phase 2,
yeah,
all of those seats.
but that is precisely what happened in the assembly elections. That is where the Congress and JDS, all the gains came in.
Right.
And if they, the thing is that if they contest together, the number of seats is not going to go up. Because BJP had the lead in the rest of the Karnataka, where they won handsomely and they became the single largest party, hardly 5-7 seats short of the majority. For all practical purpose, they were just in the touching distance of majority. But that's the way composition of Karnataka is.
Right.
So Devagowda and non-Devagowda Karnataka, let's be very clear that 50% spread of the alliance is not uniform spread across Karnataka.
Absolutely.
It is not.
Now, when you talk about that, I just want to also touch upon the Vokalega votes, the community votes. It's obviously been traditionally JDS and the stronghold, most of the in the old Mysore region, which is going to vote today in phase 2. Do you think the BJP can make any gains in that area, or is it a?
I don't think so. Honestly, reason being that they can at least try and secure more votes by putting up the candidates. And now that the Congress and JDS are on the same side of the table, at least anti-incumbent and other local equation votes might go to BJP. But
Right.
I don't see in southern Karnataka BJP having any kind of traction as far as the seat share is concerned. But the game is wide open in rest of the Karnataka.
All right. Thank you so much, Yashwant, for joining us. Keep watching Elections with HT and keep watching HindustanTimes.com. We'll keep bringing you more updates as the day goes.